Oh, cool. Episode 17. Episode 17 of No Traps, No Glory. Welcome, everybody. This is actually also the first podcast of 2020. The reason we weren't podcasting is because early on in the months leading up to, we're in March now, right? Yeah, the first 2 months have been very busy. We've been staving off conflict with Iran. We've been advising on the. It's been a busy month. Don't look at me like that. Staving off conflict with Iran, advising the president on how to deal with the Chi-Coms and how to overcome this virus, which is obviously why we're here at our venerable producer's house today, because we're prohibited from going to our normal facilities, which I don't know if all you know, but I am not one for prohibitions of any sort of freedoms. But we're not going to get into a diatribe about that today. We're going to discuss how to make the best of everything. I'll start by I was just saying for myself. Well, one, as you can see here, I'm with our venerable producer. We're on his nice patio, drinking some Czech products, and they're delicious. But we're making the best of it because it's a nice day. And ultimately, I've been doing a lot of things at the gym, a lot of things at home, just projects that I've been meaning to do for a long time that I would not have been able to do at any other point because of just wrapped up in training and business and everything else. So ultimately, in the first couple weeks at least of this quarantine period, I'm utilizing this time to get things done and take a break for myself. And today was actually the first day that I did a little bit of training again, and probably it's been about a week or so, a little over a week, which was nice. It was good for a rest. Everything felt heavy, felt slow and retarded, but that's the point. And now I'll just keep building up from there. And as time goes on, I'll just continue to add more and work up to where I want to be, and then hopefully beyond that point. Obviously, now's a good time to do that for myself and really everybody, because there are no competitions coming up in the immediate future. The Olympics, just as of yesterday and formally today, were announced that they're going to be moved to next year, but still be called the 2020 Olympics. Don't ask me. But ultimately, I think this is a really good reset time. If this was in the winter, it might be a little bit more difficult, but the fact that it's in the spring, I think everyone should utilize this time, much like I am, to just kind of take a step back from their everyday life, because this is a very historic event, and any times prior to this, we've never had anything this large, really since I guess the Spanish flu in the 1918 through I think 20. It was about a year and a half pandemic that the world faced. A lot of different circumstances and situations that are different, but also the same from them to now. But nonetheless, this is something you only see once in a lifetime, if you do, unfortunately, have to see it. But there are always positives that come out of everything, and I'm trying to make positives, and I think everyone else should too. Ultimately, like I said, I think this is going into the second week of the quarantine. I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks are everyone can muster that and learn to kind of enjoy and take the time that everyone needs to. But thereafter, I think things might start getting a little sketchy and change a little bit. But for the time being, what I've been encouraging everyone to do, again, like I said, is just utilize it wisely. Don't worry about going heavy in training. Don't worry about trying to kill yourself. Just it's a time to lay low, sit back a little bit, and if you're training at home, which most everybody is, have fun. Enjoy doing it. You weightlift because you enjoy doing it. So do it for the sake and the love thereof, because you can. And if you have the opportunity to continue at your home, keep doing it for that reason. If you don't have the opportunity to do it, take time to do other things. Go outside. The weather's beautiful. I was just looking at the forecast prior to this. So the weather's going to be great for the next upcoming days outside of the rainy days. But get extra rest. Get rest that you would never get at any other point. And even better for a lot of people, myself included, this gives you a good break from people that you normally wouldn't be able to get a break from any which other way possible. This is actually forcing people to stay away from each other. So if you don't want to deal with anybody, I think it's a great time to capitalize on this and just kind of go dark for a little bit. Read books, go in the woods, anything other than what you would normally do. So as, let's see, changing gears a little bit, going into the economic plight that the world is going to face, I just want to say thank you to all the members and great people that I have that have been supporting me every which way possible and wanting to support the gym. It's really appreciated. I mean, it's actually surprising, too, the amount of heartfelt effort and endearment that everyone's been having and giving towards and wanting to keep everything going. And I think that's a very nice thing, and something that actually I've never really realized into its true depth, the amount of community that we have. And just overall, and I've said this to many people outside of the gym who have, let's say, asked over the past few months and even how everything's been going, let's say family or family friends asking how business is and all that. And I said, and what I've been saying is that I'm at a point now, and the gym is at a point where there's not one bad person amongst the group. Not that there was ever a bad person, but edit. But what I mean is, we're at a point where we couldn't ask for a higher consistency and depth quality of people overall. Does that make sense? That makes sense, Mr. Producer?
We know what you mean.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, a higher concentration is the word I was looking for. Couldn't ask for a better concentration of quality, genuine individuals that come into the facility and just make it what it is. And the fact that everybody gets along really well, everyone has great training together, looks out for one another, looks out for myself, which surprised and don't ask anyone to, but it's really appreciated, and I'm looking forward to when we could get back to this. I think probably what today is the 22nd, Mr. Producer? 23rd. Really? Okay. 23rd. I would say by the first week of April we could be back operating again. If not, may have to look into what a speakeasy is all about and kind of consider that. Code word, yeah. The remember, farting is the passcode to the doorway. So I think we'll be back sooner than everyone thinks, even though the predictions are dire. I do believe that it's imperative that we get back to training. And who's going to stop us, really? Is the state really going to stop us and prevent us from doing what we love and people from earning a living? We got to get back to work and get things going, keep this country going.
Actually, their favorite thing to do.
What, stopping us? Our producer says it's the government's favorite thing to do, which I'm inclined to concur with that, but at this juncture it's neither here nor there. I'll run a speakeasy. So again, heartfelt thank you to everybody. You see, everybody, as this podcast goes on, I keep getting illuminated by the sun, which there's only one thing that could be really explained, is that it's literally just an act of God himself alighting me with the rays of the sun, because I'm a beacon of hope and savior for mankind. That's what it is. I mean, there's no other reasoning why the sun would start shining brighter on me whatsoever. None. The earth is flat, remember. Alright, so hopefully this doesn't pick up on the microphone, but it sounds like a cement truck named Armageddon is coming our way. But, okay, so, kind of to sum up this today's podcast, and what hopefully we'll be able to do, since obviously we have the time, is we'll be able to start pumping out a few episodes, and we actually have some good things coming. So start off, first is, one, I want to leave everyone a few tips for training. Like I said before, don't worry about going heavy. Now's the time, especially where no matter what your home gym setup is, focus on doing everything with purpose and intent, from pulls to squats to presses. The snatch and clean and jerk will always be there. You got to remember, snatch and clean and jerk is a competitive lift. Right now is the time where you want to utilize this to work on lots of reps. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Lots of reps to be able to build a good foundation, utilize going over these reps to build consistent movement, so that way by the time we're able to come back into the gym, you've established yourself a good base to then really build up. And I know for a lot of my lifters, everyone wants to go, and even I used to get into this mindset, not so much anymore, but everyone's got to push, and you got to ride a high all the time. You can't ride a high all the time. There are times to have ebbs and flows. There's times to back down. There's times to push. As I've mentioned many times on the podcast, Tommy Kono's book, Olympic Style Weightlifting, I would advocate everyone read that while they're on break right now, or while they're on quarantine, because it's a very good book to be able to, with life lessons in it. And also, as Tommy said many times, you need to have breaks, you need to have off periods in your training, and this is a great time to use it. No one's going to be competing for months. I mean, let's say if we're able to compete at an American Open in June, I almost don't even know. That would be great. If ultimately, if let's say, honestly I would think August would probably be the soonest competitions that we'll actually be able to attend, if actually possible. If not anything beyond that, I would say looking towards, let's say, when's American Masters? November, probably American Masters for Masters, and the American Open for an actual national event. So I think everyone's got a lot of time to back down, save your body a little bit. Because I mean, the more you train, the more you're putting your joints have an odometer on them, so you want to save that. So just go easy, work good motion. The time will come where you could push harder and then be able to build towards competition and achieve heavier weights again. It will happen. Today I felt like death, but it will happen. I think I'm telling myself that more than anything. But and lastly, what I'm looking forward to doing, it's a project I've been working on for a while. And what I've done, Officer Basciano and I were speaking one day, and however it came about, we were just saying about asking weightlifters over time. Because weightlifting, and this has been the theme of the podcast, weightlifting is a great tool for teaching you life. The platform is a microcosm of how you go about your everyday life and how you approach things. So it's essentially how you do anything is how you do everything. And with that, a lot of tools and a lot of lessons are derived from lifting. So we came up with essentially the question of what are 3 life lessons that you have learned from the platform. And with that, I've taken that question and I've posed it to every international lifter that either I know or am able to contact or get in contact with. And I've called up a lot of their responses for those who are willing to respond to me, and have compiled them into what I think is a very interesting amount of overall, a very interesting. I have received interesting responses from everybody. So next podcast that we're going to do is going to be very focused on that. I'll read some of people's responses. We'll be able to hopefully go over a few things with it. But ultimately, I think it'd be very interesting and very insightful for everybody. I have answers from actually just about most of the people that I've asked are Olympians or have competed in world championships, period. So everyone's been at a high level. Everyone's been in the sport for a very long time. Some actually have been in the sport not that long, but for the most part, everyone's been in the sport for a good duration and have a very good perspective on how that leads to governing their lives in total. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody. So with that, I will bid you adieu, enjoy, and see you next time.